Episode 96.
96.
We're back in the chairs.
Nueve.
Here we are.
96.
I've been on my Duolingo a little bit.
I love it.
I'm still in the first. I always mess up my streak.
Keep after it, dude.
I'm at
impressive.
standby. I'm loading. Ding.
I'm not Duolingoing anything.
I forgot my AirPods at home. I am at 1,329 days.
Ooh.
I'm at 2
Wow.
days streak. I suck, bro.
Good grief.
Nah, it's all right. Everybody's got a
I
different,
get to
Very committed.
La mujer manzana.
Manzana.
Come manzana. That's the last one I did.
You're all Ravens geared out.
I'm grieving, clearly.
I put stuff away.
Nah, man.
It's like a...
Don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah, no.
I wear it.
I don't. I have to like
Perpetuity.
disconnect.
Nah, man.
I gotta like put it away, come back to it
I'm like,
later, next season.
I connected with football in like a different, like, it's visceral for me.
Golly, I was trying to find some crazy hipster word to make fun of you, and then you said visceral.
This guy.
Golly.
Yeah. I'm covering my eyes because they're bloodshot from crying,
Yeah.
from the
That
tears.
upset?
Yeah.
I moved on very quickly from the loss.
Really?
I do. There's a weird thing in me. I can really disconnect from a loss very fast.
I'm already watching like the preseason press conferences. Like you texted me today, about the DaCosta.
Yeah,
Was that
like,
about the press conference? Or?
I saw a press conference. John Harbaugh was in there,
Yeah.
Dicing up some words,
Yeah.
trying to make Mark feel better, which I respect. But yeah, I check out. I'm out. I'll be back next year, dude.
I'll see you in
I'll be back
July.
next year. Yeah, I mean, unless, I will pay a little attention to the Bills KC game, although I think KC's going to win.
Oh, yeah, man. They're going to blow them out the water.
And once that happens,
It comes down to coaching, man. They're just, they are
once that happens, I'll be fully out.
They are
Fully
expertly coached and trained. I've never seen a team that is synchronized the way they are, and it helps that they got Patrick Mahomes. Like, he just understands the game of football
Petty boy.
down to the petty parts of it. Like,
Sweet,
how do I get a
sweet.
call?
Petty boy.
So
Yeah, they're coached well.
it's Andy Reid,
I don't
man.
have to tell you, man.
Philly was like that when he was there. He goes to Kansas City, he gets a monster in Patrick Mahomes, and he does it again. Like, it's just, can't believe it. He loves the black quarterback.
Three-peat,
Good for
dude.
him.
It's upon us. The ultimate villain arises.
Yeah.
In the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, this week, Dickel Bourbon Whiskey, baby. Cascade Hollow Distillery.
We ever had any Dickel?
Finest
Hey,
quality
yo.
bourbon. We actually have had Dickel on the show before. This was a gift to me. My dear friend Pat gave me this bottle.
Shout out to Pat.
How's Pat doing?
He's doing great, man.
Fantastic.
Aged 8 years. This is a little bit of a special
Aged
bottle,
8?
a little different.
Okay.
It's not one that you're going to come across at every store. I've seen it before. Never had it. Charcoal chill filtered, baby.
Nice.
Crafted in small batches. I'm going to go ahead. and
Who's their
right in.
distributor? Dickel.
Who's producing this, you're saying, on a
who's making
large
this?
scale?
Yeah.
Or who owns it,
Like,
rather?
what's their distillery? What's
That's a great question. I don't know. Josh Boy can look that up.
I am already on it.
Distilled and produced by Cascade Hollow Distilling Company.
I don't have this right.
It's a
Tullahoma. Yeah, man, you got the world
not-
at your fingertips, dude. Put
It's
that
a-
away.
I don't even know why I have this up.
It's a Diageo brand.
Diageo.
Yeah, sure.
Don't they do like champagne too?
They a ton of
They do a ton
like
of
there's
ton
like
of
two
things.
big ones, Diageo and Anheuser-Busch InBev, that do like 80% of the world's alcohol.
Diageo.
Would you like a list? Because the list of just their Scottish malt whiskeys is huge.
We don't need the list. We need to bore
Goes-
people
it
too
goes
much.
on.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you, man. All right, here's to a
see you.
loss. Here's to a season
Let's down my sorrows.
ending in its prime. What's that, bud?
Can I have that glass right
yeah,
there?
Courtney,
Thank you
I'll
so
pass
much.
that to you. Oh, wait, I don't gotta jump across the table. But here we go, dude. Let's give it a little tease.
Make sure you get my purple sneakers in the shot.
But yeah, bad loss. We'll give a few minutes to the Ravens game.
Moment of silence and done.
Huge, I would say Lamar choke failure.
I wouldn't say a choke. I'd say
I would say a full choke, dude. I'd put 85% on Lamar. I'd put 10% on Andrews, and I'd probably put 5% on coaching.
No, I'd inverse that. I'd put 60% on Andrews having a bad game.
Absolutely not.
45.
Huge. You're completely
That's
wrong.
105%. I'd put 30 on Andrews for having a bad game.
No.
30 on Lamar for having a bad game. And then the rest on Harbaugh making terrible calls.
Heresy, dude. Heresy. Lamar is the leader on the field. The buck stops with him.
He rallied them back, though.
No. I'm not saying that he didn't play a decent game, but he lost.
He didn't play a great game either.
The turnover battle completely. Awful pick, fumbles the ball, atrocious mistakes.
He had a terrible first half, but
It
he recovered in the second half.
Doesn't matter. Ends with him. You can't have that in a playoff
But
game.
if Andrews doesn't catch the ball,
That's not on him, dude. If Lamar would have completed those things or would have handled his business
we
right
wouldn't
there,
have got there.
then Andrews' mistakes, first of all, the 2-point conversion, which would have only tied the game, would have been completely unnecessary. Also, you can chalk that up to poor coaching if you want and remove the blame
Ravens are
from
coached
Mark
terribly
altogether. If they would have just gone for the extra point on the,
we wouldn't have been in this predicament. Yeah.
The prior touchdowns, we never would have been in that predicament. Mark's, unfortunate scenario never would have presented itself.
The problem, you leave everything else up to coaching, and then you let these decisions you leave up to Lamar.
That's what I'm saying.
Why are we doing that?
The 5% that I'm assigning to coaching is just due to the
Kick the points.
Due to the error and not just getting the points. It was too early in the game to be, in my opinion. I'm sure again everyone feels differently about this, but it was too early in the game to be doing muscle ball, trying to, I don't know, overextend, do too much,
for sure,
if you will. Like the game
was too early.
We're not that far. It's not like we're down 3 scores. Just get the points. Because if first of all, the Ravens have an awful track record with 2-point conversions. That's just my opinion. I don't know the numbers on it, but I just feel like when they do those special types of plays, they break down more than they, I don't know, work out.
It's not
if
always
that makes
successful.
sense. It just always feels icky to me when the Ravens are in those situations, and could be completely avoided had we just gone with the extra point. But neither here nor there. The Mark Andrews fumble, bad. I could even put that a little on coaching because I feel as if
we should not have went for that
he
play.
Shouldn't. I don't disagree with the play. I disagree. I disagree with the behavior after the play. The goal here is not to be a hero. The goal here is to get the first down, ball security. You make the catch. You've got the first down. You know you're about to just get wrecked by people. There's snow on the ground, icy conditions. The ball is slippery. Just get down. Get down. You completed what you were sent out to do. Let's just small wins, dude.
There was no safeness in
a lot of chaos. Yeah, a lot of chaos in the game.
And that's my biggest complaint.
Yeah.
About my team.
It's a little bit of a Lamar thing, though.
Lamar loves the breakdown. They talk about this backyard ball that he loves. Yes. And that's fine, right?
It's fine in the regular season.
You cannot commit to the backyard ball when you cannot execute fundamental ball in clutch situations.
For sure.
Kansas City, prime example last week, right? They executed everything to a T as far as coaching. The play breaks down, and what does Mahomes do? He scores a touchdown while he's falling to Travis Kelce, right? They can afford to do that because they execute everything else to a T.
Sure.
So when it breaks down, now we can just have fun. The default shouldn't be, if the play breaks down, don't worry, Lamar will figure it out. No.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just think that, and not to pile on, I just think that Lamar is, the buck stops with him a little bit.
He's a quarterback. The offense flows through him.
He's a quarterback that's out there. The first 2 major turnovers were likely drives that would have resulted in
touchdowns. That pick was crazy.
Which would have won the game.
That pick
and those are both squarely on him. That wasn't a coaching decision. In my opinion. Now, again, you might say that you didn't like the style of attack, perhaps. Like the game plan against the Steelers versus the game plan against the Bills felt very different
Should
to
have
me.
been the same, and it wasn't.
And I'm not really sure what that was all about. I felt like the Ravens put like 110% into the Steelers game and then kind of put like 75, 80%
we're going to beat them, so
the
it doesn't
Bills.
matter, and they beat your ass.
Lamar was running all over the field in the first half. Henry was doing all kinds of stuff. It just felt like a much more dynamic and aggressive strategy out of the gate. Didn't feel that way with the Bills. It felt like they were trying to maybe tire them out in the first half and then maybe try to run it, run heavy in the second half.
They barely ran the ball.
I don't know. I know. Because I think by the time they got to the second half, I think the game plan was we're going to go into the second half with a lead and then we're just going to run the ball. And then I think what happened is they went into the half in a catch-up scenario, and then they were like, well, our strategy of running the ball and burning the clock is up. We got to throw the ball now, which led to more mistakes and more issues.
You know who wouldn't make mistakes?
But who? Tell me.
Joe Flacco.
Joe?
Shout out to Stabby.
A real man of the people.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco.
I mean, he hits, let's be honest, he hits numbers. That's what he does.
I don't know what it is
That's
about
what he does. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, man. Shout out to the Ravens.
The ball works for Joe,
We'll get back.
And, it's
but
not quite the same with Lamar.
The goal is to now just whoever gets there, you just beat them, please.
It's not going to happen. KC's going to win, dude. The Bills are going to get smoked out. I know that this sounds awful.
They're going to get smoked.
The Bills played a worse game. They're not a better team than the Ravens. The Ravens are definitely.
They just didn't make any mistakes.
No disrespect to the Bills. The Bills just had a much cleaner game. And again, if we want to even rewind the clock a little further, I can let go all of the mistakes just based on like sometimes luck just plays into it. Like sometimes,
and they're home.
You just don't win the coin toss, right?
They're getting the calls.
I mean, the Bills could have had just as many fumbles or just as many mistakes, and we could be, the situation could be reversed. And, the wind just didn't blow the way the Ravens wanted it to during that game. It is what it is. Like 9 times out of 10, all of those scenarios play out in the Ravens' favor.
Yep.
It's just luck of the draw.
And not having Zay for Lamar's check down really hurt too.
I don't think Zay was going to do anything during that game. I do,
man.
That was too tough. The environment was too tough. Zay Flowers is not like a brawler. And I think that in a game like that, those conditions on the field, I think it would have given the Bills somebody else to track with and somebody else to invest time and energy into. Like they'd had to focus on that a little bit more.
It helps when you need to open up the field. Also, when those plays break down, Zay tracks with Lamar. And you could see it in Lamar when he's doing his check down, when the play is starting and when no one's open and he's checking down. There's no one that's like elusive as Zay that can really get free to get.
He's a little bit quicker and a little bit more nimble. I just feel like in that particular environment, it's just me, I'd rather have Likely and Bateman and Aguilar out there.
Yeah, where was Aguilar? They didn't even play him.
They're just a little bit more. They're bigger dudes.
They're playing Wallace. Why are we playing Wallace?
Or even like, again, Mark Andrews. Like I know he had a bad game, but they're a little bit like, they're more brawlers when they get the ball. Like they can go up and get it. Like Zay is.
When you just need like 4 or 5 yards, when you need that. You just need 5 yards. Boom, he's right there for
you. You need somebody who can go up and get the ball and then just get crushed right following
that's Andrews.
But then hold on to it.
Yeah.
And that's Likely, that's Bateman, that's Andrews. They're good at that. They established that this season. But hey, here we are. Moving on, Severance Season 2.
Watched episode 1
Episode 1's
last
out.
night.
Did you get caught
I'm
up?
rewatching Season 1. I have not watched Episode 1 yet.
I rewatched Season 1 in the lead up to Season 2.
I said that last night as we were watching Season 2, the first episode. I was like, we should have watched. We watched like 2 recaps, but I'm like, we should have just like buckled down and just like watched it over. But
yeah, it takes a little bit of time. Season 1 is, I think it's like maybe 8 or 9 episodes.
Yeah, I think
it's a little bit of a longer
the
version.
Apple
and they're hour long.
TV
shows.
recap itself was like pretty. Oh
my God, dude, you all right?
It's just launching it.
Look at that. Just fucking party for the
Are
show.
you okay, dude?
Nah, man, show's over, bro.
All right, we'll be right back.
That's fine.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
It'll dry.
We're back.
I don't know what happened,
Baby. I don't know. You got a little excited. Enjoying the Dickel a little too much.
Whoa, that's what she said.
But yeah, back to Severance. So you were in the midst of working through some recaps.
Yeah, I'm on season. I've finished episode 4, so I got 5 more to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Where you at?
So you're cooking through.
They found the book when Mr. Milchick's reading the book and he leaves on the seat. They found the book and they've taken it back. Petey just died.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn. Damn, Petey.
Yep.
You could see that Petey was kind of like over it. Like he's over everything. Like I don't know what was going on like with him, like for real. But like from what they like, Petey just kind of was like,
yeah.
He's seen too much, dude.
Yeah,
he knew too much.
Watching it through, the benefit I'm seeing here is A, I'm remembering it was 3 years ago. B,
3 years ago.
I'm seeing little things I didn't see before, like when Miss What's-Her-Face, the boss, goes next door and takes the candle. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't even clock. I saw her take it in my mind, remembering back. I saw her take it, but didn't see it in the room with Mark when she's
a fucking creep.
Meeting the doctor.
She's such a creep.
And that's the candle that's burning. You know, so like little things I'm appreciating more because I'm rewatching it.
It's a very crafty show.
Did Ben Stiller direct all the episodes?
I don't know if he directs every episode. He does.
No.
He seemingly directs a good majority of them.
Okay.
I would say
It's just in retrospect, it's done extremely well.
And he's a producer on it, and I don't know that the story was created by him. I think it is somebody else, but he's seemingly pretty heavily involved.
Yeah, I forgot all about the guy feeding the goats.
Yeah, there's a lot. And what's very fun about Severance is there's so many different like theories, like kind of like conspiracy theories, if you will, about what the different things mean. You can really go down some pretty deep rabbit holes on.
Give me some
Well, Emily's truthfully, she's a little bit deeper into the rabbit holes on this than I am. But there, for one example, is there's like this correlation of water throughout the entire like show. So obviously the big question is, what are they doing in, data macro refinement or whatever? Like what is that? What is it that they're doing?
What is the work? Right.
So like all of like the folders that they're like sorting numbers into and everything, they all have names on them apparently. And all of those names correlate to different bodies of water. And if you look,
I'm sorry, can you say it one more time?
Yeah. So there's this running theme throughout Severance of water.
Right.
Like water having some sort of significant role in what it is that they're doing or the foundation of Lumen or whatever the ultimate goal is, right? So like in front of the Lumen building, the Lumen logo is a drop of water. And in front of the Lumen building,
there's water, there's a body of water.
There's a giant body of water.
I see, okay.
There's a couple of shots where like when there's like a dinner party sequence or something where they're all sitting together and the table is completely clear, but there's just glasses of water in front of everybody that are completely full. It's like a very like kind of artistic shot, but it's obvious that like they're making a point of the water. And what I was saying about the numbers is like they're kind of cataloging and storing these numbers in folders, and those folders have names, and the names are all bodies of water.
Right.
So
which I kind of noticed
like,
yesterday when I was watching, right?
Yeah. So there's some kind of significance, like water comes up a lot in the show in various ways.
I can't wait to find out.
I don't know what that
really
translates
doing.
to.
Right.
Like maybe, I'm not really sure what it ultimately is going to amount to, but it is interesting, I would say.
I after watching season 2, episode 1, and I don't want to spoil it for you.
You boy.
Yeah, because you've not watched it.
Yeah. But you see some things that give you kind of like in hindsight retrospect, like, oh, okay. And I really don't want to say it.
Yeah, you better bite your tongue.
Yeah. Just because
I'll have it watched by next week, I promise.
You see a lot of things that are like, gives you kind of a broader perspective on the things that happened in season 1 really fast in season 2. And it's like, like they really build on it like really, really, really fast in like the first 10 minutes. So you're really caught up like immediately. And the first time that they kind of like, and if you've seen the trailer, this is not a spoiler, that they've kind of like gotten back together. You're like, okay, where are we going? And then it really picks up. So like it's episode 1, season 2 is really fun. Really, really fun.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
I've said it many times. It's the best show that Apple's ever done. It's the only show that doesn't feel like Apple.
Yeah.
You could put that show on HBO. You could put it anywhere else. It would feel appropriate. There's
so many things that happened in season 1 that I think back on now that are just kind of like super weird. And I'm like, okay, like, all right, this company's weird. But then I'm like, I don't know. That was really weird. Like, why are we doing that? Like,
it's a very fun show.
Yeah.
It's full of little clues and puzzles. It's very compelling. Most shows are just not like, there's a lot of like hills and valleys, right? Like, but Severance really is kind of cooks pretty consistently.
All right. So with that,
high marks, dude.
What do you think the Severance floor is doing? Their job. What do you think it is? Like,
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't feel like I've gotten enough clues at this stage in the game. I've heard everything from they're doing like they're kind of I'm going to botch this, but there's some form of, this is like another theory, but there's some form of like LLM, basically. Like it's just like being hidden as AI, but it's actually not. It is people that are actually doing the AI work. Like there's like these weird concepts there that have been toyed with.
I like that idea. Like Lumen is actually an AI, a generative language model, and they're doing the work, but they're
like a component of it, or like they're like everybody that's working at Lumen has some kind of fits into some kind of component in this like AI space. And they just obviously don't know it. And then there's the other bit too of like Lumen being more of a testing ground. That they're like the severance procedure is something that they are actually doing in the real world in a lot of other applications, and that Lumen is just like a testing area. So they're not actually doing anything at all. They're just running experiments on these people, and just to like
the work is actually a game.
The severance model elsewhere, right? I think it's established in
it is
season
very early.
1 that there is somebody who is outside of the building, outside of Lumen, that is severed, that is not associated to.
They say that.
Well, like they're not an employee.
It's also mentioned in, I think, the second or third episode. Another thing I didn't really remember is that the light-skinned black girl that's the voice of the board. She was on a news show that Mark was watching in his house. She was a Lumen representative. In that, and she mentioned other industries using the technology.
So this is the other thing that's also really interesting about the show is all of the people that work at Lumen that are seemingly involved in the employees' lives outside of Lumen. So
are not severed.
When people pitch, like I've heard the AI theory and I like that. Even like the testing theory, I've heard that and I find that interesting and compelling. The only thing that's odd to me is that they're seemingly trailing all of the people, like at least the main 4 characters. They're seemingly trailing these people or paying attention to them outside of work, which makes me think that they must have some greater purpose or must be of significance beyond just like a standard Lumen employee, or like, are they trailing everybody? Like, why are they seeing people that they work with outside of work that are clearly
not supposed to see?
Like they're clearly there for like reconnaissance purposes, right? Like the what's her face that lives next door to him. Exactly. Like there's all these characters that pop up.
I don't want to spoil it. Okay.
Anyway, that's great. This I think will continue to be developed throughout season 2, obviously, but it's stuff like that that really catches me a little off guard. Like it makes me think like, well, there's got to be more to it than just them being I don't know, regular worker bees or whatever.
I do really like that idea of it being a testing ground. And of course, right, like we said, you see that with that, the woman that appears to be severed. But I had never really kind of thought of it that the work is just meaningless. It's just to make them do something for 8 hours.
The work is nothing.
Right. But it's also interesting that O&D is so huge. Now, and of course, if the work is just made up, that's great. That's a lot of manual labor that you can do. But
so the idea is that like all of the different departments are all doing different sets of tasks, right? So they're kind of monitoring and keeping an eye on how the severance like program applies to, like, let's say somebody who is working in the arts, or somebody who is working in a business situation, or somebody who's doing like these different types of daily tasks, right? Or whatever. Like, does the severance program apply or work functionally for all of these people the same? Or are there certain things that allow you to bleed a back over, right? So like, are people that are doing the data refinement or whatever, for whatever reason, some of them seemingly are having like this brain bleed where
like
they're
flashbacks of
they're kind of reconnecting with the other half. Is that something that's exclusive to people that are working in that role and that type of like individual versus somebody who's doing art restoration stuff or whatever?
Yeah, or the baby goat guy.
Correct. Or the goat guy, right? There's like this idea of like, we're going to test severed people in all these different facets of different types of career or work fields, right?
Cognitively connects to
what
them
happens
outside of the, that's
like if I sever a carpenter versus I sever like somebody who
an
works in
engineer,
IT
office or something, right?
Like, does it apply? Like, are the brains different? Does it, you know what I'm saying? So there's like that piece to it, which is, I think, interesting. But again, I always go back to the fact that they seemingly are surveilling them.
And to your point
of work, which seems like they can't be doing that with everybody.
What you're saying right now is really relevant in the opening scene of season 2.
Anyway,
you'll get there.
Ongoing theories. Ongoing theories. You had some show notes this week. I think Severance.
I just wrote some stuff down.
Do you want to talk to us a little bit about them? It was inspiring. I think you had something on.
I'm really tired of it, but like it just kind of like is kind of like continuously in my stratosphere, and I just don't think I can escape it. That this Drake and Kendrick thing is just kind of like still going.
I think it's good for press.
You do?
I think it's good for publicity. I think they both like it.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I mean, it just keeps the story and it keeps the narrative alive.
At this point, as much of a fan of wrestling, I wouldn't even say I'm a fan, I'm an enthusiast. It kind of feels like they're telling the story, like there's a story thread of like all of the things that are happening, and this is going to lead to like some type of big match at some point. Like,
I mean, the Super Bowl, maybe.
Yeah, right. For context, there was the battle. And then Drake has he filed a lawsuit. Am I correct?
Yeah. So to provide a quick little context for anybody who's not super familiar with the situation, we're referring to the Drake and Kendrick Lamar kind of rap battle fiasco, which has been ongoing for quite some time.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar is doing the halftime show for the Super Bowl.
Right.
And everybody, or seemingly Drake's team seems like they're nervous or concerned about what the outcome of that could likely be, because it's such a large stage and audience. Yep. And Kendrick has seemingly kind of won the rap battle, has a hit song that really, and that's the diss track more or less for Drake. And Drake now is trying to sue.
Legally, he's trying to stop.
Yeah, he's trying to legally stop seemingly I don't know if the performance or the distribution of the song.
I guess the song in general. Yeah. And I guess I wanted to ask you, like.
So here we are.
Is Drake being a bit of a Karen? Like, is he pulling like a...
I don't know. I tend to think...
You perpetuate all of this mob boss talk and then...
Well, he's clearly not...
You're losing.
He's clearly not a mob boss
clearly.
guy.
Yeah.
I think that's really very evident. As hard as he likes
you watch early episodes, like, you know how I feel about Drake's persona. Yeah.
He's not. I don't know. I have a conspiracy leaning mind, so I feel as if there's just more to the story. Like, I feel as if for Kendrick and Drake, neither of the narratives are as damaging as they want to admit. I think
they're not as streamlined as they think that the narratives are.
Listen, I don't think, to be honest, like, I don't know that Drake puts out super compelling records anymore. I think his music career has kind of fizzled a little bit. It's not to say that he doesn't have hits.
Album
doesn't say that he's not super successful. He is, and he has a catalog that's pretty incredible. So he's fine from that perspective.
But what does suing your record label do?
I mean, it keeps you in the conversation, and it's not gonna.
True.
It keeps you in the conversation, And he's always going to be able to put out music. Like if Drake puts out an album next week, like even if Spotify isn't the lawsuit, like hasn't have something.
The lawsuit apparently is against, and in the comments, like you can correct us, like we're drinking, we're I don't know what Josh is doing over there, but
I think it like calls out Spotify to some extent.
Spotify
specifically.
It says UMG was like paying for like basically like payola to get the record pushed
to boost the
plays.
And Drake is
totally
saying basically
great
that
use of the term payola.
Yeah,
that's great.
I'm from the 90s, man. Basically that the record is defamatory because it's calling him, and I don't even know if I can say the word on this show.
I think everybody knows what
legophile, you know what I'm saying? It rhymes with that, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So he's saying that the use of those terms in this song against me is basically, defamatory, and I can't make money now because brands associate me with that song, and I don't like kids like that. Basically, that's what he's saying. Like, I don't like kids like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Right. So my question was like, is he being like like by being, you perpetuate this persona in this narrative that you are this big rap mob boss, but then you go this route and you call the law, which is not I would say smiled upon thing in the rap community that you would, bring in outside interference.
I don't know. I get that 100%, and I am not at all well versed enough in like rap culture in the community, but I would maybe argue that Drake has kind of ascended maybe from that. He's more of like a pop star.
He's a pop star.
Right?
He's not a rap star anymore.
Yeah, he's kind of like iconic.
I'll take that. Absolutely.
He's not really like I don't know. There's just something about him.
This isn't Meek Mill filing a lawsuit. This is
correct.
Drake.
This tracks. This is like a Taylor Swift kind of thing, or a Beyonce.
An icon
there are
type
people like that their team would come to them and be like, listen, strategically, we can do A, B, and C.
If Taylor Swift released the diss track on Beyonce, like this is something she would say like, all right, you got to relax.
I don't know that.
And vice versa.
I just don't know that Drake is sitting around worrying about how this affects his like credibility in that community per se.
And we haven't heard from him either, right? Like,
no, I don't think you're going to.
I don't think we are
this
either.
Is this is like big money stuff. I think he is going to keep living his life. And again, if Drake shows up somewhere, like he's going to get the attention that he wants.
Of course.
I don't think he's getting like turned away from things yet. I mean, maybe he's not getting the deals he wants, but he's made the money that he needs to make. You know, he owns most of his, like he owns so many brands.
Does he own his masters? I think he owns his masters.
I'm not sure that it matters at this stage in the game. Like
he is an icon as far as music goes.
He owns enough. He owns enough that money is not really
literally the artist of the decade. Like he was given that award.
Sure.
So like, I don't know if I don't know. I feel like it's kind of petty. Right, you lost the beef. Like, let him have his moment with the song, and like just move on.
I think it seems like it's petty, but I think that that's because most people just don't understand or don't have like
the acumen to get like.
I just don't know that that's like a world that most people operate in.
True.
Like Drake has legal teams that I guarantee you were like,
that he doesn't even know exists. Yeah.
Let's do these things.
Whatever y'all got to do, just do it. Just make sure this doesn't happen.
Like, I'm sure there's reasons for why they're doing all of that, which probably don't make sense or seem like, I don't know, reasonable to like the average person.
Yeah.
But for me to sit here and think that there aren't people like that know what they're doing in his, boardroom, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of crazy to think or suggest, right? Like, I don't think Drake is just calling people up in the middle of the night and like freaking out. I don't get that sense. Like, I think he is. I think he's got like a.
I love to think in my mind Drake is waking up in cold sweats.
Dude, he could be. He could be. I just think if that were the case, I think there would be signs of that. I think there would be like sporadic behavior on social media.
Yeah, he's panicking. He's not panicking.
He doesn't seem panicked or
he's
fazed.
Front row at the basketball game still.
He seems like he's living his life exactly the same way.
He cut his hair off.
Yeah, he seems like he's doing the same thing he's always
haircut Drake.
done, more or less. So I guarantee you somebody's got a plan here that makes sense to them and is probably just like beyond my like backseat comprehension. Like I have no idea what they're doing. Who would? Yeah. All I hear is the articles of like Drake is suing these people and what an absurd thing to do. Like I don't know. Is it? Maybe. I have no idea. But I couldn't say if it is crazy or not. Plenty of people have done weird things. Like Taylor Swift did weird things. She got into it with her record labels.
She did?
She made big stinks and scenes and like kind of lied about stuff, acting like she couldn't get her masters. She didn't have the option to do this or do that. Yeah. And the truth is she was just kind of drumming up publicity and hype for herself on the outside.
Soften up and do it. Yeah.
And, I think there's a couple documentaries out on it. But there was like I think initially like there was a big controversy around how she couldn't own her masters, never had the opportunity to buy her masters. Like she felt like she was kind of, locked up with like record labels and just was kind of being controlled.
This was a bad deal. They took advantage of me.
Correct.
I was
and
a
then
kid.
I think there was like all these like emails and all this stuff came out that basically confirmed that Taylor Swift did in fact have the opportunity to buy her masters.
She didn't.
She chose to not buy them because she saw a different path of basically acquiring her masters without paying for them, which was re-recording all of her music essentially, and basically redistributing that. And so that's more or less what she's done, right? So now it's like this weird thing of all the music that you listen to of Taylor Swift now is, for the most part,
because she re-recorded all of her original music, right?
Taylor's version.
As those albums expire,
a bunch of artists have done
she has
that,
the ability to re-record them.
Yeah.
Right? And then she owns those masters.
Right.
So she's basically re-recording all of her stuff. She didn't have to buy her masters, her original ones. Somebody else did and paid like a fortune for them.
And then now they're useless because she re-recorded and put them back out.
Sure, but she kind of played a little bit of
she played the long game.
Yeah, she played the long game, and she kind of, again, I think she was just looking for more like support and advocacy from the fan base kind of thing. So I think she kind of acted a little bit like, oh, this was all being done behind my back. And I think she knew more or less what was going on. So I think, again, like
that also happens with like young artists too, man.
But there's 40 chess being played. On this level with artists of this caliber, there's 40 chess happening.
Oh, of course.
So the articles that are coming out, you just can't take them for what they're worth, in my opinion. Like there's just more to it.
You want to get dark and then move on to the next one?
Real quick, Taylor Swift masters were bought in 2020 by a company called Shamrock Holdings for $400 million.
Yeah.
Jeez. $400 million.
Under the condition that he keeps profiting, so Scooter Braun. And Shamrock's Holdings is owned by the Disney family.
Yes.
Of course it is.
Anyway.
Disney's a mafia.
Dark. You want to get dark?
I'm gonna go real dark real quick, and then we don't even have to comment.
Okay.
Buckle up, buckaroos.
Remember when Drake and Meek Mill were having that rap beef like 10 years ago?
Sure.
And Drake leaked in his record, he mentioned P. Diddy peeing on Drake's leg.
No, but I'll take your word for it.
I have confirmation that happened.
All right.
Yeah, we can move on now.
I appreciate the confirmation.
Isn't that crazy?
It's wild.
All right, we can move on.
I mean, I believe it. It's not that shocking. You could have come forward with this information sooner.
I could have, but I need to confirm it. I confirmed it.
Okay.
All right.
I love that that's it.
You see Chappelle on SNL?
Moving on. I've not watched the whole thing. I've watched like a lot of bits of it.
Man, it was great.
I take in so much through social media, which kind of is unfortunate. I've not seen it like straight through.
It was great.
But it was very compelling.
Actually,
he always does a great job.
The SNL episode itself, 10 out of 10, like all the way through.
Damn.
Like,
all right.
Like,
let's check it out.
I have an affection for Glorilla, the rapper. She's a young girl, not a young girl. She's a rapper. That's a young lady. I said girl. She's a young lady from Memphis, and she raps like a guy. The style of rap is like the type of rap that a guy would like. She kind of projects herself like a male when she's rapping, so the music kind of sounds like it's coming. Like she could ghostwrite for a man, right, and it would sound the same. And I just kind of love it. And she had an awesome performance, and Chappelle was the host, but his monologue was like 30 minutes. It's like he took up like half the show.
I think that is pretty common. I think when he's
check it out.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch.
He didn't even do like
he's hosted once before, maybe.
Yeah,
at least once.
Yeah,
maybe twice.
He did the infamous he did like an infamous thing on like the Trump thing back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had like what he was talking about, the Hillary thing and all that. Like he was, dude. I still see those clips to this day.
Yeah, he was killing it, man.
He crushed it. It was right after the debates, the Hillary-Trump debates. Initially, he did an SNL bit.
He does the thing where he makes a joke and he's not. And this is Chappelle just kind of being. I would consider him a goat at. I hold him up there with like Seinfeld and like all the other guys, where he makes a joke where he's just kind of simply stating the facts, and it's up to you to kind of insinuate like is it a joke or is he like telling the truth? So he is in a. I've said it before on the show, but I really do feel like Chappelle is kind of in a class of his own. He really is like a storyteller. Like there's something about it where like you get all of the emotions. You're like in it and you're like, it's like it's so good. It is a comedy thing, but it's so much more than that. Yeah. Which is like, it's weird. I don't know how to classify it. It's almost not like a comedy bit. It's just like this thing. Because I love stand-up comedy. I kind of like Chanel and I went and saw like Martin Lawrence in I want to say November. Like I actively kind of keep up with like comics, and the guys from that like era, they don't really do stand-up like too often. Like Chris Rock did something for Netflix, and it was kind of it was like, in Baltimore. Yeah, and it was kind of like, bleh. It was a little like dated. The delivery was very dated. And Chappelle just kind of finds a way to accentuate his delivery with the times. Like he's very much a storyteller. Like it doesn't feel like he's a comic anymore. Yes. But it's hilarious. And if you watch like older Chappelle, like he definitely had like, that's how he started. Like, it was the same his stuff. His stand-up was more traditional in like the bits and like kind of setups and all that. It was all very traditional. But when he kind of came back and started doing a lot of the Netflix stuff. After it was very like, it was just very, I don't know. It was like listening to somebody just like tell a story. When he walked away and came back, he just became very like introspective and like, I'm just gonna tell the truth, and then like if you laugh, you laugh, and if you don't, you don't. But yeah, man, SNL, it was came great, back with like a wisdom that was just like whatever he's seen in Hollywood. I don't know where he got it. I don't know what he did. I mean, he went to Africa, dude. Like all the talent and all of like the skill that he had beforehand, like he still has it, but it just like was sharpened and like honed and developed in a way that's just, I really don't know of any other comedian that has, I think like John Mulaney, I think is trying to do something similar. He's trying to like his last stand up was kind of trying to be more storytelling. Like there was a lot of like moments of just kind of like honesty serious, and brutality. Like, introspective, like kind of still commentary. A great bit, but like but it's not. Dude, there's something. It's like not that almost like hypnotic about like when Chappelle comes out. Like it's a pretty remarkable thing. Anyway, You want some buffoonery? Tell me, dude, what's going on? I don't know if it's buffoonery. Maybe it is. We ain't talk politics in a minute. It's fresh. You want to do it? Tell me, dude. Want to hit the button? What's the button? Is this the conspiracy corner button? No. I was gonna say. I was getting excited for that. What are we doing, dude? Nah. I don't. Are there any conspiracies to talk about? Like, I mean, there's always opportunities. I don't know right at the moment if there is. Although there was I don't know if anybody saw. This is just a callback to the last episode where we were talking about the drones. Did anybody see the clip of Donald Trump in his office when he like asks about the drone stuff? No. I see this. Pretty hilarious. We'll have to look this up. Can you say if anybody's not seen it, I'm sure. Why not? At this stage in the game, we can say it. I think he's the president. I was gonna ask you like at the beginning of the show, could we cuss? Because like
I think so.
Are we still a PG-13 show?
No, it's not about that. It's just
It's not about fucking kids.
there's an algorithmic component to YouTube when like certain things happen within certain time frames.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm not always positive what
Yeah,
those
if
are.
you drop a fuck in the first, like, let's say
60
5
or
minutes,
90 seconds or something,
whatever
it
it
gets
is.
flagged.
Yeah.
We automatically go to the
it
bottom of the
doesn't
SEO.
really
right.
matter
Yep.
because there's always something in what we're doing that I think is like we have alcohol out. There's all kinds of things that I think that really are problematic for us. So it's not
God
really
forbid I
a
take my
huge
pants
factor.
off like I planned
but,
to.
Right, yeah.
The drone thing, you can look this up. There is Donald Trump has been talking about this for a while now about
drones.
how he's going to like reveal like what all the drones are, that like the U.S. military knows exactly what's going on and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But there's this shot of him in it like at his desk where he's like signing all these papers. There's all the media is all around him, and somebody like mentions the drones, and he's just like, the drones? That's right, the drones. We gotta figure out what's going on with the drones. And he like looks off to the side and he like yells for somebody down the hall, and he's like, can we get some answers on the drones? Can somebody just bring us, we just need some info. Let's just figure out what that was. Like, that's such an odd way. It was pretty hilarious. His just whole like,
Because he was very
cadence around
like
the drone situation.
not vindicated.
Like, there's just somebody standing in the hallway. It's like, I gotta figure out what the drones
he's got
are now.
he's got the drone folder.
Quote,
like
quote, no, I think it's, I would like to find out what it is to tell the people, comma, the president replied. As the reporter attempted to ask another question, Trump turned and addressed Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, who was standing off camera. Quote,
Poor
in
Susie.
fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what was up, Susie? Okay, yeah. Why don't we find out immediately?
Yes. It was just like
is
this.
Susie gonna put together a task force?
It was this
now?
very
Like-
nonchalant moment, and I just love the fact that there's somebody off camera who's all of a sudden like, "Damn it, I gotta go." figure out what
This is
this
now-
my
drones are
job
doing."
now.
The drones is my job.
And it was just so like, because technically the repercussions of this request could be quite detrimental.
Truth,
So just
sure.
the way it was handled was just so cavalier and nonchalant.
Yes.
I was just cracking up when I
I
saw
just
it.
think
I
now
was like,
Susie's job is the young lady who is in charge of the boys on him, like in that show. Like now she's just about to be super stressed out.
dude,
It sounded like a good
she
idea to
could
take
have
this
come
job.
back like 10 minutes later and just been like, I don't know. She could have slid across like a note and been like, I don't know how to tell you.
And for the next 10 months now, this is her job to
I don't
figure
know
out
how
what
to
these
tell you
drones
this,
came.
but
It's toys.
extraterrestrials
It's aliens.
are here.
I got the clip.
And he's just sitting there just like shouting out orders, and he would just have to take that information in and be like, good job. You did.
Great.
Thank you.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm trying to. I don't have my.
trying to
Unfortunately, I don't have my AirPods. Oh yeah. We can definitely.
yeah.
We can definitely throw that up there. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, it's not.
It's like it's my first day.
It's not 2010.
Studio.
It's pretty good.
When did Airplay come
7.
out? What year was that?
It's been a while.
2004. I don't know. It's been around
It's a
forever.
terrible year.
All right. So this is.
Okay, look at him. Yeah, he's so
I can't
intense.
turn the volume.
I love it. He's so intense.
the remote.
It's
The
great.
small
It's a big
one.
one. You know what that allows you to do? That means you can do whatever you have to do to get out of that problem. And we do have that kind of an emergency.
This is so good.
President Trump,
We're gonna go
I just
back.
got here.
I just
at
got
some
here.
point, will you use your powers of the presidency to tell Americans who are concerned about drones?
Yeah,
A few weeks
good.
ago,
Yeah.
what exactly
I will.
was happening? Can you tell us now?
In fact, I'd like to know because I just got here.
What do you think?
I just came here. I've been here for what, 15 minutes now.
The people listening, because this is going out live.
And I got to read this letter too because of you. I found this letter.
Who's
I
the
can
letter
read it
from?
for you.
It's interesting. Yeah, I know you would. Your father would too.
What?
But is it anything these drones? Is it anything that people need to be worried
No,
about?
I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of?
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay.
Can we find out
Yeah,
what that
why
was?
Pass
don't we
the
find
buck,
out?
always.
Immediately. I mean, I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. There are a lot of
The
them
way
flying
he
over
looks
buildings.
down.
Dude,
He's like, I mean,
I just love the fact that somebody was standing around on their phone,
chilling.
scrolling Instagram, and then all of a sudden got tasked with the responsibility.
She's planning happy
of
hour right now.
uncovering
She's like, all right,
the
girl,
drone
I'm about to get
situation.
off. As soon as he's done signing these papers, and now she has to put together a task force.
Do
you see this?
Yo,
You have to
bulletproof.
You have to laugh a little bit. That's
And
just
to
the
get
only,
th-
it's the
to
only
get through
way.
the pain.
It's the only way you get
I just
around
realized
it
there was a
all.
bullet in the glass.
You didn't see that? That's the first thing I saw.
Bulletproof, dude.
Oh golly,
Not bad.
Here we
All
are.
right. Well, we'll wrap it up. We're at 50 minutes or so. Episode 96. Sorry.
Great episode, man.
Pretty
I feel
good.
like we did pretty good.
And,
Dickel.
let's
how is
recap
George?
on Dickel. I'm enjoying it. It has nice color.
I am, man. It's very smooth.
It's got a
It's
good,
good.
flavor to it. It's
Do
man,
one
it's a
more.
straightforward bourbon.
Yeah, pass that over, please.
Easy drinking. Good flavors.
This dog like always sits by me and just farts me out.
High marks, dude. High marks on it.
The Dickel is really good, man. I get you know.
I don't remember being like blown away by the other bottle we had of theirs, but this kind of stands out to me. This is really nice.
The 8-year.
I enjoy it.
I'm not mad at it.
I enjoy
Cascade Hollow Distillery, finest quality bourbon, aged 8 years.
Episode 96.
96.
There it is.
See y'all next week.